So, as we know, you are all engaged in very unpredictable, agile situation, and you are driving from the front. So now we are reflecting how agile we are, or are we just firefighting, getting so fast? So agility in concept, it would mean that we are ready to adaptations, and we are ready to take steps. Again, we are able to make ourselves ready for any competition in an unpredictable environment. And today, uh, before any time, I mean, we have not been agile or should be so agile before, but today the situation demands each business to survive to be really agile in its real sense. So let's talk about how we are. So my suggestion, the first round maybe, how exactly that we experience in our context the demands of agility, and how we are prepared for that, and how do we reflect on that. So anyone can just start.
So, yeah, I'll start. So, I think in the current VUCA Bani environment, agility is utmost for organizations. And there is a lot of difference between chaos and agility. So, agility is about structured change management and adaptation, and being extremely proactive and being open about it. Whereas when it's chaos, whenever a situation comes up, an organization is just within a short term trying to bring out a solution and all. So I think more and more organization, the successful ones, are geared up for agility both in terms of results, agility in communication. Agility itself has different dimensions. So the more deeper organizations go into that, they would be more successful in the long term. So while chaos is very important as well, it kind of, in the short term, it helps us to move. For example, we had COVID. So there was a mix of both agility as well as chaos. Both were there. And organizations that adapted from a long-term perspective were successful. They were able to really, cope it up, and then, make the most of the whole situation as well.
Right. So this is the situation that whether we like it or not, we have to be there. So how prepared that, you think your organization for that matter, and how it is, how do you think that you are preparing your organization?
I think it's a strategic, it's a strategic element. Agility is no more, required from a managerial perspective or something. I think every good leader would need it as an essential ingredient in his or her toolkit. And they have to demonstrate it on an ongoing basis through actions, through the behavior. And, when they communicate across the organization, when they connect with different stakeholders, when the strategy is worked upon, the business plan is put together, at all dimensions, this has become a part. It's a very, very essential part for success.
I think just picking on that, at least what I'm seeing in the commercial context is today, volatility is almost sort of built into your long range business planning, right? Given that the consumers of this content is students, right? I mean, today as business leaders, you shouldn't get shocked if you hit a volatile patch, right? That's something you should have already planned for. I think that's one fundamental change in the way we do long range planning. And what the demand that specifically places is doing extensive scenario planning, right? So you know that if something were to go wrong, what moves do you have? What levers do you have that will still allow you to meet your commercial outcomes, right? No longer can you go and justify to the board and say, because of XYZ, whether it's geopolitical, economic, or anything else, market related, you missed your budget, as an example, or missed your number. Because then the obvious question is, well, did that surprise you? So I think scenario planning is emerging as a key competency. And volatility is now baked into any long-range forecast that we create in businesses. I think those are the key dynamics I see changing in the way we do business today, and even 5 years back, as an example.
So just as both of them have explained, and also, just imagine, what's changing in the world. And you mentioned COVID, or it's ongoing long-range situation where you need to be continuously evolving. So lot of things are happening for a leader in the given situation, where we have come ourselves into. One is, of course, the geopolitical tensions, and the other reasons why companies are grappling with what is their strategy. And thanks to changes in various other rules by large countries, they need to purpose their own or reimagine their own strategies very quickly. If I thought I understood what the geopolitical tension is all about, then there is something related to tariff that comes and hits me. So it's like ever evolving and continuous, and that is on the macroeconomic situations there. Then the technology is changing also too very fast, right? Imagine the world when we all woke up, say in 2022 November, right? There was no ChatGPT, right? So we were all taking decisions very differently and doing things very, very, very differently. While it is nascent, too early to talk about, but the leader is also grappling with, how much should I really, adopt, and what are the things that I have to leave on the table. And there is also pressures not now coming from only the top or the environment around you, but also the competitiveness which your market is pushing you into, your customers, your peer companies, your competitors driving you into having to adopt AI and everything else that is happening on a daily basis. Every morning you see something new that's come in the Gen AI world, right? So it's hard to really understand, A, as a leader, and B, in terms of translating it to your own people who are working in your command, and tell them what to do and what not, and how do you really navigate those conversations, etc. And the third one, or maybe last two, uh, today there are about 5 generations almost working in a workplace. In a large corporation, you would see about 5 generations. The ones with various generations that we have terminologies, and the 2005 bonds are already in the workplace, right? So to that extent, your groups and teams, you need to know how to really work with each one of them, right? There is this new generation which has a different meaning and a reason and a purpose for work for themselves, and there is an old generation which doesn't understand a lot of nuances in between the generations itself. Now there is another new generation that is already coming, right? So how do you really deal with these people, and what is amplifying, and especially for IT industry? My name is Phani Pattamatta, and I am a part of industry body called HISIA, Hyderabad Software Enterprise Association. We deal with our member companies who are all technology, IT and ITS companies. So we hear a lot of chatter around many of these topics. Plus the other issue, which especially the IT ITS companies are probably not able to put their finger on, is the hybrid way of working, right? So in a hybrid way of working, how do we really include people in the periphery, right? If there is somebody who is constantly remote, and there is someone who is sitting right across my table at the boardroom, so whose ideas am I really implementing and adapting, right? With all these political tensions, your AI that is fast evolving, and the generational issues that I'm already seeing in the teams, plus the hybrid. So how can I make it so inclusive and give a safe place for all of them to perform better and be able to take these decisions quickly? And if there is a change of plan, how do they really quickly move in an agile manner and not create enough confusion or a chaos? Like somebody said, it shouldn't look like firefighting, right? I'm not in a COVID crisis right now, so I have to be much calmer than that. But these tensions are, I think, much bigger and larger than that. So that's I think people are grappling with today.
Yeah, so basically you're right, and initially you can, and I agree with you, like initially it can be crisis, and like that gives you adrenaline to perform. You can take decisions faster, better, but at the same time, that cannot be ongoing process. So you have to have like the organizations which thrive and survive, they really have processes in place, otherwise, like to handle agility. So I mean, right now, some like as you talked about the tariff structure, or these are country issues, organizational issues. Because of such, you have and like a lot of you have startups. So initially at a startup culture, you need to have there'll be a lot of chaos. You need to have agile systems, but you can't really, because to have a long term growth, you have to have the tail, which is your, the processes and all have to be in place, because initially you may focus on sales revenue, but going forward, you have to have customer experience, you have to focus on innovation. So these are really, really important stuff. And coming to your point on the 5 generations which is working, I mean, it's really a difficult situation, but at the same time, I see the agility, the acceptance by the Gen X to the Gen Z, and they are accepting their ways of working. So this is also agility, and I would say, we have a kind of, the way they have accepted them, which is why it's being it's in a sustained manner. It's sustaining also.